Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, Chapter 26, Fundamental Principles of Material Nature, text number 3. Anadiratma Purusho Nirguna Prakriti Paraha Pratyak Dhamma Swayam Jyotir Visvam Yena Samanvitam Anadiratma Purusho Nirguna Prakriti Paraha Prajakdama Swayam Jyotir Visvam Yena Samanvitam. Ladies. Anadi, without a beginning. Atma, the Supreme Soul. Purusha, the personality of Godhead. Nirguna, transcendental to the material modes of nature. Prakriti Paraha, beyond this material world. Pratyak Dhamma, perceivable everywhere. Swayam Jyoti, self-effulgent. Visvam, the entire creation. Yena, by whom? Samanvitam is maintained. Translation: the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the Supreme Soul, and He has no beginning. He is transcendental to the material modes of nature and beyond the existence of this material world. He is perceivable everywhere because He is self-effulgent, and by His self-effulgent luster, the entire creation is maintained. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is described as being without beginning. He is Purusha, the Supreme Spirit. Purusa means person. When we think of a person in our present experience, that person has a beginning. This means that he has taken birth and that there is a history from the beginning of his life. But the Lord is particularly mentioned here as Anadi, beginningless. If we examine all persons, we will find that everyone has a beginning, but when we approach a person who has no beginning, he's the Supreme Person. That is the definition given in the Brahma Samhita. Isvara Parama Krishna. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is Krishna, the Supreme Controller. He is without beginning, and He's the beginning of everyone. The dedication to is found in all Vedic literatures. The Lord is described as the soul or spirit. What is the definition of spirit? Spirit is perceivable everywhere. Brahman means great. His greatness is perceived everywhere. And what is that greatness? Consciousness. We have personal experience of consciousness, for it is spread all over the body. In every hair follicle of our body, we can feel consciousness. This is individual consciousness. Similarly, there is super consciousness. The example can be given of a small light and the sunlight. The sunlight is perceived everywhere, even within the room or in the sky, but the small light is experienced within a specific limit. Similarly, our consciousness is perceived within the limit of our particular body, but the super consciousness or the existence of God is perceived everywhere. He's present everywhere by His energy. It is stated in the Vishnu Purana that whatever we find anywhere and everywhere is the dissolution of the energy of the Supreme Lord. In Bhagavad Gita also, it is confirmed that the Lord is all-pervading and exists everywhere by His two kinds of energy. One, spiritual, and the other, material. But the spiritual and material energies are spread everywhere. And that is the proof of the existence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It's a very long purport, so I'll speak a little bit now and I'll read again, because otherwise by the time I get to the end of the purport, I forget the beginning of the purport. So that is difficult. So we see the Lord is described as spirit, and His greatness is perceived everywhere. And then the question is, Srila Prabhupada raises, is what is that greatness? And he says, consciousness. So, yes, it is consciousness that is the essence of everything that is there. It is the experience. That is what it's about. Not that we lose our consciousness when we become self-realized, then that we give up everything, including consciousness. That is Buddhism. Yes. But the idea is to change our consciousness. That the current state of consciousness is not positive. We are experiencing that the conditioned state of consciousness is bringing us just always anxiety, always something to worry about. No. Always. And even when there's nothing to worry about, we think, how long can this last? Something's going to happen now. So that is the nature of the material energy. It is the opposite of Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha means without anxiety. The material world is kunta. It is full of anxiety. It is the abode of anxiety. No one can overcome it because, first of all, there's the unknown, and that's already a problem. Because anything can happen. Anything. Have you thought about that? Think about what can happen. It's like things. Think about Ukraine. So anything can happen, anytime. That is the material world. And yes, it is not all happiness that can happen. It is happiness and distress. It's gambling, right? Yes, like in some gambling, you can in roulette you can get red or black, happiness or suffering. Same thing in the material world. So this is the situation. Therefore, the consciousness that identifies with the material energy is going to have anxiety. That's a fundamental element of material existence that is described as prakriti sthanika sati, the struggle with the material energy. So that we will have. When we are taking up spiritual life, we begin to connect the material energy to Krishna, to Krishna's purpose. But there's still anxiety because you're still dealing with the material energy, and also for Krishna. Then we take anxiety for Krishna. It's like in the background of the festival, there was some legal matters in New York, and they were calling me about it. And even this morning again, they're calling me about what's happening and how we have to do something, how we have to file certain documents, and and I'm like, how I have to make some phone calls, and I think like, oh, this is the part of the material energy we don't like, right? This is the part of the material energy that nobody is asking for. But what can we do? It comes on its own accord, but also goes on its own accord, right? That's also there. I mean, what are you doing if there's a problem? Right? For many years, I was in management. Somehow or other, when I came to Krishna consciousness, they put me in management. And in the beginning, you tend to want to deal with every problem, right? Does you feel like, okay, I have to deal with every problem? But after a while, you really know when there's a problem, the first thing you do is don't do anything, because it may just go away on its own. It does. This is experience management. many problems tend to just go away. Yeah? You don't only respond to the ones that keep on coming back. Yes. So, like this, the material energy works, prakriti sthanika sati. But yeah, we don't care so much about the material energy, really. It's not so important. It doesn't really matter. Where shall we live? Where shall we live? Somewhere. Shall we be married? Yes. Or shall we not be married? Yes. Right? What do you mean? You're saying yes to both. Yes. But what should I do? Something. Do something. Do something. Something for Krishna. Get married for Krishna or don't get married for Krishna. Right? But do it for Krishna. It's up to you. It doesn't really make so much difference. Right? It still goes on. Prakriti sthanika sati, the struggle for material existence. Right? Without marriage you struggle. With marriage you also struggle. I mean, what's different? And in both positions you can make, you can have an opportunity to make spiritual advancement. That's what it's about. It's like some people are so concerned with ashram, but we are not the International Society for Ashram Consciousness. Yeah, we are the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. We just care about Krishna, right? It's about Krishna. It's about being a devotee of Krishna. And what are we doing for Krishna? That's what it's about. And that's what counts. At the end, that all comes back. What we have done for Krishna, it comes back at the end of our life. The more we adjust our life according to Krishna's desire, the more we will be peaceful at the end, right? Because then we can face Krishna. But if in our life we cut so many corners and we did things that we should not have done, then at the end of life there is anxiety. We are now in Germany, and Frankfurt is very famous because it is the birthplace of Goethe. Oh la la. Yeah. Even in France they know about Goethe. Yes, and he was an interesting thinker, right? Goethe had his doctor, like most old people do, and the doctor pointed out that Goethe, at the last moments of his life, was in great fear. Suddenly he was in great fear. So, what happened? Why are some people in great fear? It is because we have engaged in unwanted things. And we could hide them from people, but we cannot hide them from the Supreme Lord. He knows everything. Everything. Everything that we were hiding, that nobody ever found out, He knows it. And He's waiting for us to come and meet Him. And then we have to face Him and go like, well, Krishna, Hare Krishna, nice to see you. Except on humble obeisances, I'm so happy to have your darshan. Okay, what are you hiding? No, nothing in particular. Yeah, it's difficult. So to face Krishna with an open heart means we have to live a life dedicated to Krishna, according to Krishna's desire, a life of purity. As simple as that. That comes back to us, a life of purity. A life, and the purity comes in the regulative principles, it comes in spiritual standards, it comes in avoiding offenses, and all these things, right? That guarantees our purity. And then we can face Krishna. We can really face Krishna at the end of our life. So that is the idea. Therefore, a person who is completely aligned with Krishna's desire, what anxiety is there in such a person's life? The material energy. Yeah, it's not under control. It's getting out of control. It's getting out of control. It never was under control. If you ever thought that the material energy was under control, it's under control, but not our control. It's not. Sometimes it looks like I've got everything under control. Are you okay? Yes, everything under control. Yes. Just wait a while. We never have the material energy under control. That's illusion. But Krishna has given the living being some capacity to control. You know, the living being can control something. But only if Krishna sanctioned it. It's like, I used to play football, and then one time, from a great distance, I just shot the ball at the goal, and it went just over the keeper, And I went right in the goal, and everyone said, "Wow, that was amazing." "Yeah, it wasn't easy," I said. The truth was, I don't know how I did it. I had no idea. It just, I was surprised myself. What happened there? Somehow or other, this ball just came off my foot and it just flew and went perfectly into the goal. Yeah, I mean, that's what I wanted, but it wasn't something under my control, No way. Yeah. But some people are expert, Baba. Oh yes, they bounce the ball on their foot 20 times, 30 times without touching the ground. Yes. Yes, we may have some material expertise, but that material expertise, it's even, you see it, even in the top sports, the big stars, they sometimes win, they sometimes lose. Even the best actor sometimes blows it. Right? Everybody. It's like, we're vulnerable. We're vulnerable. And that vulnerability is something that's difficult to live with, that we can potentially fail. And we try to live up to an idea, of what we think we should be. And we try to be that idea instead of being what we are. We try to impress others. Yes, muscles or other things. Try to impress. Try to make impressions. So this is so. The impression that we make upon others means a lot to us. What they think of me. What will they think of me? How can you speak to me like this in person? People will think that I'm... Anyway, what do we think? We think we are all fallible soldiers. When we're in Krishna consciousness, we all think we're all struggling here in the material world. And, sometimes it works better than other times. And so it's when it doesn't work out, we have to be tolerant. We have to accept that. Not like, how can you do this? Right? Yeah, happens. Everybody does something stupid sometimes. It's just how it is. Yeah, everybody. So in this way, a Vaishnava becomes nirapiksha, not affected by all these things. Is in the material world, but is nirapiksha, not affected. Okay, let it be. I'm trying to do the best I can for Krishna. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work so well. What can you do? C'est la vie. That's the way the cookie crumbles, as the Americans translate c'est la vie. Yes. So we just know that there's one person who has everything under control, and we turn to that person. We turn to Krishna. Tata Sri Vijayo Bhutir Dhruva Nitir Mama. Whenever we are with Krishna, Yata Krishna Yogeshwara, the supreme mystic, then there will be victory. Then there will be victory. Then we'll be successful. So this is how we live, depending on Krishna, but trying for Krishna to do what we are supposed to do according to his desire. Srila Prabhupada was teaching that everything is Krishna's energy, right? And the devotees took that, and temple commanders always put on signs in temples, right? And said like, save Krishna's energy next to the light switch or something, or the leaking tap, or the temple commanders like to put signs everywhere, in Australia, in the toilet I saw, try to hit the target. Yeah. So, like that, different signs. But all with the idea that we are taking care of things. We're taking care of things for Krishna. We take responsibility to try and do things properly, but we know that we can only try our best, and then the rest depends on Krishna. And this is where the detachment comes in. Right? Okay, if it doesn't work, too bad, try again tomorrow. Right? That's how it works. Okay, I'll read a little more. The existence of consciousness is everywhere. The existence of consciousness everywhere is not temporary. It is without beginning, and because it is without beginning, it is also without end. The theory that consciousness develops at a certain stage of material combination is not accepted herein, for the consciousness which exists everywhere is said to be without beginning. The materialistic or atheistic theory stating that there is no soul and that there is no God and that consciousness is the result of a combination of matter is not acceptable. Matter is not beginningless, it has a beginning. As this material body has a beginning, the universal body does also. And as our material body has begun on the basis of our soul, the entire gigantic universal body has begun on the basis of the Supreme Soul. The Vedanta Sutra says, Janmadi asiyataha. This entire material exhibition, its creation, its growth, its maintenance, and its dissolution is an emanation from the Supreme Person. In the Bhagavad Gita also, the Lord says, I am the beginning, the source of birth of everything. Yes, okay, so we see like that. And consciousness is eternal. And it's not that consciousness in any point of time is a product of matter. That is what we are remembering. But how do you know that? How do you know that for sure? Currently, we don't. Currently, it's more something, it's logic. It seems to make sense. We are appreciating that it corresponds to our desire. Who wants to die? Anybody? We can fix that up. No problem. No, nobody really says. Nobody wants to die. So there's a tendency to be eternal. Hiranyakasipu wanted to be eternal. Right? Ravana wanted to be eternal. And who wants to die? So one argument in favor of the existence of the soul is that when we had a desire for, when we were hungry, there was food. When we were thirsty, there was water. When we needed air, yes, we can breathe, right? There's every time when we have a need, there's an answer. When we have a need not to die, there's eternity. See? So, as like all our needs actually have an answer. So eternity, and why is it so? Because eternity is natural to us. That is our natural propensity. So we don't like things to be temporary. We are suffering, but not anything good in this world. We don't like it to be temporary, whatever it is. This is one of the problems of the material world. It's all temporary. And then your time is up. And then you're not finished. Now what? The end always comes in the middle instead of where it's supposed to be, at the end. You know what I'm saying? This is a problem in life. The end comes somewhere on the way, and it didn't wait for the end. Wait a minute. You're supposed to come at the end, when I'm really finished. No, I'll just come somewhere, says the end. But hey, wait a minute, end, you're supposed to come at the end. Not waiting for the end. So, like this, this is something difficult to accept. We desire eternity. That much we can understand, that is our nature. And then there was love, and they loved each other forevermore. Plunk. Ah, God. Yes. I'll continue reading. The Supreme Personality of God is described here. He's not a temporary person, nor does he have a beginning. He's without a cause, and he's the cause of all causes. Para means transcendental, beyond the creative energy. The Lord is the creator of the creative energy. We can see that there's a creative energy in the material world, but he's not under this energy. He's Prakriti Paraha, beyond this energy. He's not subjected to the threefold miseries created by the material energy, because he's beyond it. The modes of material nature do not touch him. It is explained here, Swayam Jyoti, he's light himself. We've experienced in the material world of one's light, lights being a reflection of another, just as moonlight is a reflection of the sunlight. Sunlight is also the reflection of the Brahma Jyoti. Similarly, Brahma Jyoti, the spiritual effulgence, is the reflection of the body of the Supreme Lord. This is confirmed in the Brahma Samhita, Yasya Prabha Prabhavata. The Brahma Jyoti, or the Brahman effulgence, is due to his bodily luster. Therefore, it is said here, Swayam Jyoti, he himself is light. His light is distributed in different ways, as the Brahma Jyoti, as sunlight, and as moonlight. Bhagavad Gita confirms that in the spiritual world, there is no need of sunlight, moonlight, or electricity. The Upanishads also confirm this, because the bodily luster of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is sufficient to illuminate the spiritual world. There is no need of sunlight, moonlight, or any other light or electricity. So here we're looking at a scriptural presentation of reality, right? And describing that, yes, there is the Supreme Lord, everything depends on him, and then we're going to light, he's self-effulgent, and how all effulgence comes from him. By this philosophical outlook based on scripture, we can appreciate the eternal nature of things better. Right? We can appreciate it better. And scripture we can accept because behind scripture there are many great sages who have realized the scripture. Scriptures are not just old books that have been brought to us from thousands of years ago, but with all these books are sages who've lived with the scriptures, who've realized the scriptures and developed amazing qualities. And therefore, they are the living proof of these scriptures. And that is important. So scriptures go hand in hand with saintly personalities. And that makes these scriptures more acceptable. Right? You can say, yes, there's something to it. It's not just some book. You know, we can see that what is described here produces results. And these personalities got these results. Therefore, we can also get these results. And therefore, this is true. In this way, one can appreciate that along with scriptures, there are saintly personalities who've realized them. And then we can start believing this. Right? We're reading this, and Srila Prabhupada is writing it. When Srila Prabhupada is writing about Krishna, then we know that he can see Krishna, that he can talk to Krishna, and so on. For us, it's just, okay, yes, interesting. Okay, moon is a reflection of the sun. Okay, sun is reflection of Brahma Jyoti. Brahma Jyoti is reflection of Krishna. Okay. Yes. Interesting. Anything else? No. Okay, Upanishad confirmed this. Bhagavad Gita confirmed this. Very good. Yes. But the fact that there are saintly personalities with these books, historical, incredible personalities, makes these books magic books. This self-illumination also contradicts the theory that the spirit soul or the spiritual consciousness develops at a certain point in material combination. The term Swayam Jyoti indicates that there is no tinge of anything material, anything or any material reaction. It is confronted here that the concept of the Lord's all-pervasiveness is due to his illumination everywhere. We have experienced that the sun is situated in one place, but the sunlight is diffused all around for millions and millions of miles. That is our practical experience. Similarly, although the Supreme Light is situated in his personal abode, Vaikuntha or Vrindavan, his light is diffused not only in the spiritual world, but beyond that. In the material world also, that light is collected by the sun globe, and the sunlight is reflected by the moon globe. That although he is situated in his own abode, his light is distributed all over the spiritual material worlds. The Brahma Samhita 537 confirms this. Goloka eva nivasatyat kilatma bhuto. He is living in Goloka, but still he's present all over the creation. So now we are looking at the light being used as an example, but really it means not only is the light reflected everywhere and present everywhere, Krishna is present everywhere. So this is what we're seeing. Krishna is everywhere, and it takes time. So it's not only that Krishna consciousness means to see that Krishna is the origin of everything, but we are seeing that Krishna is involved in everything. He's in every atom. Krishna is controlling everything that goes on, although he's not personally involved, but he expands himself, and each of the expansions, there is a deity of Krishna that controls the mind, and deity that controls the intelligence. There, we cannot breathe without Krishna sanctioning it. We can't do not lift our finger, can't do anything like this. We begin to see Krishna very thoroughly everywhere. And that's what scriptures are trying to do. So, he is living in Goloka, but still he's present all over the creation. He's the super soul of everything, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he has innumerable transcendental qualities. It is also concluded that although he is undoubtedly a person, he's not a Purusha of this material world. Mayavadi philosophers cannot understand that beyond this material world there can be a person. Therefore they're impersonalists. But it's explained very nicely here that the personality of Godhead is beyond material existence. Okay, so herewith ends this very long purport and very philosophical purport. And as I say, it supports our perception of eternity. And as soon in the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, what's happening? Arjuna is overwhelmed. There's a situation and a half. It's a big family issue, and it's a serious family issue. I mean, grandfather is on one side, and a cousin is on the other side, and it begins to look pretty bad. Right? Now what to do? Okay, everyone in his corners. No, they're not going in their corners. Now what you're going to do? They want you to fight as well. Are you ready to fight? Against your own grandfather. Huh? Are you? Huh? You fight your grandfather? Huh? Huh? Yeah. But Arjuna had to do it. So Arjuna had a bit of a problem with that. That's fair enough. A grandfather problem. But Krishna resolved it, right? He's resolved the grandfather problem. And by immediately showing the bigger picture. Not just a little, just go up, see bigger, until the bigger picture, eternity. So any problem, go to the bigger picture. That's the Bhagavad Gita. Yeah, so this verse and the bigger picture is that ultimately Krishna is behind it all. He's eternal. We're in an eternal relationship with him and everything else. How important is it really? How important is it really? The bigger picture is what it's about. Okay, a few minutes for questions and then, yes, sir. Yeah, and everyone doesn't have to say thank you for the lecture, just ask your questions straight, because then we cut off 5 minutes.
Доста по-лесно е да виждаш по-голямата картина, когато имаш проблеми в живота.
Проблеми.
He said it's way easier to see the bigger picture once you have problems in your life.
Трябва ли да се опитваме да виждаме голямата картина, когато обратното всичко е много добре и сме много щастливи материално?
Should we try to see the bigger picture when we are feeling good and happy also?
Yeah. Okay, so suffering in this world, what you call probleming, suffering in this world is Krishna's special mercy. And when we are enjoying in this material world, then things are getting very dangerous. So enjoying in the material world is bad, and suffering in the material world is good. Right? Yes. Because when we're enjoying, then we tend to forget. We think life is so sweet, life is so beautiful. I am really happy and don't need anything anymore. Can this go on forevermore? Oh yes, I am in love with life itself. Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. And then bang, the balloon pops and you start to suffer. And then, then you wake up and start to think, oh, Krishna, please help me. Oh, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Yes, then suddenly we remember Krishna again. Therefore, yes, in the middle of the enjoyment, we also have to look at the bigger picture. That is a sage, both in happiness and distress, looking at the bigger picture. Now, do you like animations? You know? Yes. Look at it. Surprise. There is one artist named Steve Cutts, right? And he's on YouTube. And he is very good. And he makes different animations. He's made one called Happiness. You can see it on YouTube. Happiness. And basically, he shows people chasing after happiness and how they just get caught, you know, like in and what that happiness is all about. Of course, I can describe how it starts. Would you like to know? It starts with a rat. And the rat is on the screen. And there's little music. And then there's more rats. And then there are many rats. And you see them running. Next moment they are wearing suits and then ties and briefcases and they're going into a railway station. And they're all like running around. And you see the billboards on the way. And there's different things, clothes advertised, drinks advertised, and it's all called happiness. You know, happiness, see the clothes, happiness, see the drinks, happiness, have a smoke, happiness, happiness, happiness everywhere. And all the shops are called happiness. Every shop is called happiness, and people are just running around, and then he squeezes in the train, somehow or other gets in, like morning, and oh yes. Then there is a big shop, Black Friday. You can go in there and you can get a bargain. So you see the people storming into the store and fighting to get something, and it gets pretty rough. And then the owner walks out with the money. And he drives a sports car. And he's having a great time. He's got some outfit. And he's driving a sports car. And then there's a traffic jam. He has to stop. And some guys come. Some street characters. And while he's standing in the jam, they screw off the wheels of his car. And there's nothing he can do. If you know what I mean. And then, then he gets a little fried. But he looks up and he sees this billboard with vodka happiness on it. And he goes in there and he drinks the vodka happiness. And then he crashes. Then after that, he goes for medicated happiness. So now the hero is a rat, right? So he goes for the medicated happiness. He takes the pills, and then suddenly the whole world becomes Disney World, and the rat looks like Mickey Mouse. And he goes up into the sky, and he's up there, and there's music, and then he's flying in the sky with birds, and it's all beautiful. And then he realizes that the birds have wings, and he doesn't. And then he crashes down onto the ground. And he lies there, finished. But then, somehow or other, a piece of paper gets stuck on his nose. It's a dollar bill. Oh. And then it blows away. Then he wakes up and he runs after the dollar bill. And it goes into an elevator. And then he follows it everywhere. And it comes into a building. And then, there is like the dollar bill goes right in, and there's a big mouse trap. And it's like, bang! And he gets trapped behind a desk with a computer board, and he's typing. End of the movie. Just check it out. Happiness. So yes, we should always remember the eternal perspective. Always. O great sage. Bumsy. That's transcendental, Baba. The transcendental happiness. Yes. That's okay. Yes. That you can have. From eating a rasgulla, from getting the Maha sweets, that's all transcendental. Bumsy.
Hare Krishna, you told us that by following regulative principles, we will get spiritual strength and we will avoid offenses. But if we are following and then we again do some offenses, what we miss?
Yeah, no, I didn't say that by following regulated principles we will avoid offense. I said we have to follow principles and avoid offenses, both. And it's an effort. It's an effort. It doesn't happen automatically. Sometimes the four regulated principles, sometimes it's no problem, and sometimes it feels like a shoe that is too tight, and your foot wants to kick it off. Yeah. And as far as offenses, yes, sometimes it just slips out of your mouth. What to do? What to do. Yeah, so, no, we have to be careful about that. That's all. We have to be careful. Yes. Microfono.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. You talked about failing and success, and as a musical student, I wanted to ask, because I feel obliged to be successful, because as a musician you have to compare and you have to be successful to people to take you seriously.
Yeah.
And if I want to preach through music, I just have to be successful.
Yeah.
And failing is not an option.
Not an option. If you fail, it's like miserable. Okay, but then, I also used to be a bit of a musician in my days, and you also have to do it with what's in your hands. Okay? I mean, you're going to use your hands to play a musical instrument, and you're going to reach your limit. At one point, right? You study, and then you reach your limit. Right? It's like, I play guitar, and it's not so bad. I can play guitar, I'm not bad. I mean, I'm not. But then there are people who are just like, there's another level, and I cannot get there. This life, I just don't have it. It's not in my hands. So I have to accept. I have my level, right? And I have to do it with that, and then within that, I try to express what I can. I mean, there's some musicians, they're not very good musicians, but they are really good in expressing, right? They play crude music, but, they're full of expression. Even rap is like, musically, it's sort of like, it's not like, there's not a lot there. It's just rhythm, okay. And I mean, the thing is like, okay, to get all your syllables in, like, like again. But it's the message, right? There's a little bit of art, and putting in the syllables and playing around, but it's really about the message, right? Yeah, so yeah, I think it's not only musicians, everyone is trying to be a success. When you cook, we had one cook, and everything the cook ever made was horrible. It's really terrible. And he loved to cook. And then every time it was like, oh man, God. I mean, it wasn't just a little bit bad, it was bad. Every time. Till we finally told him about, Prabhu, I mean, really, maybe cooking is not your strongest point. Maybe he should do some other service. He's very heartbroken. But what to do, So we have our limitations, and everyone wants to be a success at what they do. But we also learn over time that we're not always going to be successful at everything, and that we're better at some things, but even then. Yeah? Even with the things we have talent for, it still depends on Krishna. Yeah. So we cannot be so attached to like it's not, when I'm not a success, then, and I fail, then the only thing left for me is like, yeah, no, not like that. No. I try my level best, and if it doesn't work, okay, then maybe it's not my destiny. Try second time, try third time. But if the fifth time it's still not working, well then maybe play another style of music. Yeah. Because this is also, you just call it your style. If you can't play, you just play horrible, and you call it your style. Works very well. If you can't paint, splash something on the canvas, and this is my style, you know. And if you're just self-assured about it, people will accept. Wow, it's very interesting, very unique, very unique. Yeah. Anyone else? Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. You mentioned that Krishna is everywhere, and you gave this beautiful example of the light. And we see also from Srila Prabhupada's example so many occasions in this sense, and also pure devotees. I remembered Vamshidas Babaji, he saw on the rolling wheels of the train, I think it was him, he saw the pastimes of the Lord. And I was thinking, what is the problem that we don't see Krishna everywhere? Of course, we have insufficient knowledge and realizations, but even the small piece of knowledge we have, even in this sense, we cannot see Krishna.
Because Maya looks so good. Maya looks so good. So we're looking too much at Maya. We have to lose our faith a little bit in the material energy. It says you have to become akinchana gotra, materially exhausted. You know, Nistha is an advanced stage of Krishna consciousness, which means we have no more faith in the material energy. At the earlier stages, up to anartha nivriti, we do not just have material desires, we still have faith in the material world. We believe in it. But in Nistha, we may have material desires, but we don't believe in it anymore. Not really. So we have to lose our faith in the material energy. I mean, I tell often about Ganga Devi riding on a crocodile. Yeah? And the crocodile is the material energy. And Ganga comes into the material energy, rides on the crocodile. So, a crocodile is treacherous. Do not trust a croc. Even if you take baby croc, and take care of it from childhood, right? When that croc grows up, it's gonna go for your leg. That's a croc. Do not trust a croc. Do not trust the material energy. It's a crocodile. Yes. Do not think, well, if you're smart, then you can be happy. You just have to be smart in this world, and you'll be happy. That's what everybody thinks. They think, and I am pretty smart. I am. So I think I'm going to crack it. No, it's a crocodile. Okay, with that, it says you should end on a high note, so to end with a crocodile is quite good. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.